What's going on, everyone? Dylan here today. I'm going to show you some specific ways you can use Arcade to speed up your workflow within FL Studio. I typically like to start with Chords as the base of my beats. Click on the search button right here. Go to play instrument, which is going to allow us to select a sound that we can play like we would a piano or a synth sound. And let's say you have a specific genre in mind or an instrument in mind that you want to use. At the top right here, we can just scroll through and just look at either the genre or the different instrument sounds. And so I want a synth, so I'm just going to click synth right here. And you get tons of different options. I'm just going to use this sound right here that I really like. It's called Return, and it's from the Vintage Synth line. And being able to quickly find the sounds that you want to use really speeds up your workflow. Let's just drop some chords right here. Now, one of my favorite features of this that definitely speeds up your workflow quite a bit, pretty much all the effects you'd want to use on a sound like this are already built in, and you just have to move a knob up or down to kind of set them in. Typically in FL, you'd have to route Arcade to your mixer, scroll through a bunch of effects, and then dial in the settings for that effect. And it can kind of just take a long time to even test something out, whereas if it's just built in here, like me doing this takes 1 second. If I don't like it, I can just move it back. So let's use these knobs to kind of dial in the sound we want. And then if you want to have even more control over the sound, you can just automate it really quickly. So just grab any one of these knobs, move it a little bit, go up here, go to create automation clip, and then just dial something in like this. And if you didn't like your sound, it's of course very easy to just go in and change it to something else. Open or download another line and just press play. So next up we have Countermelodies, which Arcade makes honestly extremely easy. Rather than go in and have to individually put in, tons of different notes and whatnot. Alright, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you get what I'm saying. You can very quickly just go to the load sampler section. And unlike instruments, samplers have a variety of loops that you can play simply by inputting a few different notes, which is a lot easier than digging through folders of samples. Click out a style that you want. In this case, I kind of want some strings. Hover over the sound, and here we can see that this one is between 75 and 100 BPM. This beat is 82 BPM, so let's just go with this one right here. Make sure it's set to the correct key, which you can change in the bottom right hand corner. And then with just a couple of notes, just like I've added right here, you can get a really cool sounding counter melody. Listen to it and dial in the effects again as well. And because it's so easy, you can really try out like 2 or 3 counter melodies in the same amount of time that it might take you to typically create a counter melody, especially something that's as complex as we just played right there. For example, if I just move some of the notes in this same bank, now, let's say your beat feels a little empty and you just want to add a little bit more to it. Or maybe you want to keep your beat really simple and you don't even want to add a counter melody. When I'm making beats for myself to add my own vocals to, I usually like them to be pretty simple. And with Arcade, you can add interesting textures, soundscapes, and vocals to keep beats interesting while still allowing space for an artist. So right here, I've got one of my favorite lines for doing this opened, distant voices. This works great over the counter melody right here. And if we wanted to add an additional texture or just do something else, Again, it only takes a couple seconds to do. So I've got this sound from the tape line open. This is great for adding textures as well. To me, this is a very underrated feature of Arcade, and that is adding drums. And the reason why this is such a great tool, in FL Studios, you would typically have to either individually place your drums within the channel rack or sort through different drum loops, make sure the tempo is correct and all that other stuff. But in Arcade, you can just open up a bank, and one bank that's really good for drum sounds is Funk You. Literally, it's just the same note going throughout. Can just go in and quickly play with different effects. Add it back, add a low pass. And one thing I like to do a lot of times is I'll take two different packs. So right here I have the drum sesh line open, and the sound is called Stricken. And I'm just layering it underneath the other drums. And then just throw a little bass line on it. You get something like this. So hopefully you learned a lot, and have a great life. Peace.